Alright, since I'm gonna be doing a lot of stuff in front of my bookshelf, I figured it might be a good idea to show you guys what's on my bookshelf. So here we have my first row, my second row, my third row, and all of the binders at the bottom over there are my readings from the last classes I took, and then the little pile of papers over there were actually the readings from my tuition scholar work, where I basically read through an entire undergraduate class and created questions for it. But anyway, so we're gonna go back up here. So most of these are old textbooks that I had. Some of these I had to rebuy because our last apartment actually had an infestation and ruined a lot of my books. So some of the ones that I did have aren't here anymore. Some of them I still have in the freezer, trying to recover the things by freezing off the possible remnants, and then I'm going to bleach and scrub the pages and double check to make sure there's no infestation in the book. So luckily I've been taught how to do that conservation wise with books, so I was able to save my Harry Potter collection, which is actually as old as all the books are. They're all first edition, so I was really worried about those. So these are mostly textbooks. The ones that aren't are this guy here, the philosophy book, the Pillars of Greek Wisdom, and the Roman mythology. The Roman mythology, this is one of the books I had to rebuy because I actually got the original one in Italy when I studied abroad in Siena. And I bought it at one of the places we went, but it was one of the things that I'm not sure if I had to throw away or it's just in storage, but I needed it this semester, so I rebought it for pretty cheap, so it's a little beat up, but I'm glad I was able to find it for a decent price. The Greek historians over here, and the daily life in Greece, the ones that are right next to each other, those aren't technically textbooks that I ended up using. I actually had to drop the class that the Greek historians was for because it was psychologically damaging. So if you ever need to drop a class, don't let that deter you, because I had to do it twice and I still ended up in a master's degree program for classics. So if that's any encouragement to anyone, I'm glad. And then everything else on this, except for the crowd in Rome and then the crimes over here, those two aren't books from my classes, but they are books from a previous class from someone who gave me their hand-me-downs. And then the crimes are for a specific project I am working on for later. This big one over here, that one I bought at a secondhand store, but almost everything else up here has been a textbook for me. If you're wondering why I have so many versions of the Odyssey and the Iliad, it's because my professors could never agree on which version, so I have a bunch of different ones. These are all the ones I had to buy over and over again. This one right here, this one's actually in Greek, whereas those are in English. The only one that I didn't use was the Fagel's translation. That one was a hand-me-down, and I kept it because I like to compare translations. And then these two were also for school, and then I got the new Odyssey when it came out. And then more textbooks. I believe everything but the Song of Achilles on this has been used for one of my classes. War with Hannibal is in Latin. Everything else is in translation. Then this is from somebody as a thank you for when I helped edit her paper for her final. So I just thought that was cool, and I'm just using it as a bookend for now because otherwise my books are all gonna fall down because Conti likes to knock everything down. And I do have two bookshelves, so I'll show you the mess that's on this other side here. This is the binder I'm going to be using for my next class. And then these are books I'm going to read after I finish Circe and Outrun the Wind. Those are my pile of Sharpies that I've almost gone all the way through. More piles of articles I need to organize. This I got as a Christmas present, which is really exciting for me. It's called Disability, Deformity, and Disease in the Grimm's Fairy Tales. So it's on my list to read as well. Down here I have the Bible and the Quran, because if any of you have been following me for a while, you know that I'm also an interfaith minister. I have these because my last couple of holy books actually got ruined in my last apartment, as I was talking about before, but these are pretty easily replaced, so I'm not worried as much about that. I was more worried about the version of the Bhagavad Gita that I had. It was a very nice version and had very good Catholic Bible as well. That was really fancy, so I'm kind of upset that those ended up a little messed up. Down here is my other pile of books and articles, and the House of Hades I got for sale at Barnes & Noble. So these are all things I need to organize on this side. And then otherwise we have this really comfy pink chair I got here, sit in front of my bookshelf when I'm not doing anything, and that's the tripod I'm not using right now, which is why I'm a little shaky, but I wanted to be able to be a bit more flexible on how to show you guys all the things that are on my bookshelf. So I hope you enjoyed that, and maybe in a few years I can make another one and we can compare what my bookshelf looks like then.